Oh, she got a lot of hair. Oh, she got a lot of hair. Hi guys, welcome back to the Mystic Rebels podcast. I am the divine feminine side of Mystic Rebels. My name is Ashley. I teach astrology, herbalism, spiritual development, psychic awareness, and tarot. No, I don't teach astrology. I just said I teach astrology. My husband teaches astrology. I know a little bit, but no, that's his jam. I'm here to talk to you about common myths with tarot. And I think it's really important for anybody who's just starting their tarot journey to know that there's a bunch of BS out there and you shouldn't listen to it because the devil's not in the tarot. I promise. Number one myth, your tarot deck has to be gifted. Boo! Let me tell you a little bit about my journey with tarot. I started doing tarot when I was 12. Yes. Thankfully, the place that I went to in my little town of Sonoma, it was called the Pyramid. It was on the downtown square. I would go there and they had all these sample decks that you were able to look at to see which one you wanted to buy. Now, I was 12, so I wasn't buying a deck because I was told that you had to be given a tarot deck in order for it to matter. And so you tell that to a little mystic me. I was like, okay, I'll wait. I know it'll come. Ain't nobody interested in buying me a deck back then. So around 15, I said, I think I was almost 15. I was 14 and a half. I said, I'm going to buy me my own tarot deck because I don't buy into any of this BS. I don't have anyone in my life who's going to buy me a tarot deck. So I bought my own and it's back there. I still have it. And I, oh my gosh, I thought it was such a serious choice. Back then we didn't have YouTube to look at what all the cards look like. And I'm going to be doing a bunch of those for you guys because I think those are important, a bunch of tarot reviews. But I bought my first deck and then and my second one was actually bought by my husband. And that was years later. So that tells you how long I worked with that first deck. And your connection to your first deck is your own and it's authentic to you. When you choose a deck, choose one that you just have to work with. If you're into mermaids, I was totally diving into the divine feminine at the time. So mine is the Goddess Tarot and I love it. It's beautiful. It's a little bit of an alternative to the Rider-Waite-Smith system with just a couple of differences. And I love it. I still use it. It's on my altar right behind me. Number 2, tarot is evil and opens the door to entities. What? Totally get it. We have been taught that it's not safe to seek power, that we don't have it ourselves, and that if we imbue an object with power, it could come back to bite us in the ass. Now, of course, we've watched a lot of movies, horror movies, where like scary ass dolls are walking at us and mommy. No, it's not going to happen with a tarot deck. However, divination is a practice. It is an individualized practice, and it's all about intention. If you want to commune with the dead, if you want to talk to entities, if you want to open that door, that's your choice. Mama doesn't play with that because I have some stories of when I was a teen witch and it did not work out. Not the teen witch part, but when I was a baby witch, it was not knowing what we did, but we were just having fun. We didn't understand intention. We didn't understand focus. So I wouldn't play with the craft. I wouldn't play with deities. I wouldn't play with a Ouija board for sure. And I certainly would not try and work with deities with a tarot deck if you are not practiced in your being able to focus your intention, if you are not practiced in your purification rituals, if you are not practiced in your safety and grounding, don't touch that. However, tarot is your energy. If it's just readings that you're doing for yourself, you're reading your own energy and you're understanding on a deeper level the energies on a daily basis. You can do daily readings, you can do situational readings, you can do higher self readings. Oh my God, the limit does not exist, and it doesn't to how many decks I have either. But the possibilities are endless. I would suggest keeping a journal and always set your intentions, do some purification ritual. And I use ritual, but literally you can just take 30 seconds. You can use frequency, candles, smoke. There are so many different things. And if you want to learn about purification rituals, you can comment down below. And I'm so happy to share that information. Number 3, tarot is only for predicting the future. Blah. Okay, here's what I tell my clients, because as a professional tarot reader, it's important that my clients understand that I am psychic, yes, but I can only see the possible future based on the energy in the present moment. However, we can use the energy and create a path forward, which is what I do with my clients, in order for them to reach their goals. And if they do XYZ that spirit and their guides are suggesting, the outcome will be this. So we can predict a possible future, but it's up to you to do the work and to listen to your guides. And you don't just have to work with tarot in order to work with your guides. One of the services I do, Spiritual Awakening, is I create a specific environment that is unique to you, your spiritual sacred space. And that's where you commune and talk to and get guidance from your spirit guides. And it's a wonderful thing that I do, because we don't have to just use objects. These are powers that are ours innately. It is our divine right to our psychic awareness and psychic ability and our connection to spirit and our spirit guides. If you're just starting on this journey, tarot is a great way to start that. But I would not suggest communing with your guides until you've learned purification rituals, until you've made a connection with your tarot deck. And we can talk about how to do that in another video. If you're interested, comment down below. But tarot is for understanding on a deeper level the energies at play, similar to astrology, and how to align with your goals and how to utilize the energy at your disposal as opposed to being a victim to it. So many people believe that this shit just keeps happening to me and I don't know what to do and I'm just a victim. And they may not say that, but that's ultimately what their narrative is within their head, because they feel like they're a victim, and it's okay. But we got to get outside of that and we got to see a different perspective, because I do it all the time. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I can't do this. I can't do this because I have my kids, or I can't do this because da, da, da. And tarot does not lie. Yeah, I'll pull some cards and tarot is like, bitch, depending upon the deck. You can do it. You can't do it all at once, but you got to be gentle with yourself. You got to have some patience, and that's where all the different cards come into play. And the way I teach tarot is to help you understand the emotional truth behind each card, and that can be unique to each person, but we'll get into that a little later. Number 4, tarot cards will bring bad luck if used incorrectly. Oh my God. Back in the day, I used to wrap my tarot deck in this scarf, which I still have. It was a zodiacal scarf. And I would always put it on my shelf, on my altar, and no one could touch my deck. Like, I was even uncomfortable with people looking at it, because I was told, don't let anyone touch your deck. Don't let anyone look at it. It's your private deck. It's your energy, and it's imbued with your energy. And if anyone else touches it, they're going to ruin your energetic connection to your deck. BS. Okay, first of all, let's think of our tarot deck as a friend. If your friend goes and sees another friend or is patted on the back by another friend, are they immediately going to be like, ew, we're not friends anymore? No, it's going to be okay. And you can always cleanse your deck. You can always reconnect. You can always purify. You can always ground. So if someone picks up your deck, I don't want you to be like, oh my God, no, it's yours now. Thanks, Mom. It does sound like me, but back in the day. But it's important to understand that there's if you have superstitions around tarot, you will experience a manifestation of those superstitions. So if we're a bit more chill with our practice and take it easy and don't get too serious about it, and that's just good rule of thumb for life. Don't get too serious about it, because I have, as a professional tarot reader, I have how many decks on my desk right now? One, excluding oracles. Oracles are a totally different story. I love oracles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, and then the ones in the back, like 20 altogether. And then I have all these in the back, and then I have another shelf. And I use all of these decks, but I was told that you only had one deck, and that was your one deck for the rest of your life. And it was just like, okay, that sounds like fun. It's like getting married without having testing the merchandise. I don't recommend it, especially because we need sovereignty over our orgasms, ladies. But that's a whole different podcast, and comment down below if you want to hear about that. Talk about sexual alchemy. Number 5, you must memorize the definition of cards in order to read accurately. Blah. Blah. Okay. I am sharing all of these with you because I was a victim to these. I came up with these because I'm like, okay, what do I want them to know so they won't stumble for years like I did? I used to read for, not clients, but for friends for years, and family members who were okay with that, not my parents, from the book. So I would use my tarot deck, and then I would translate it from the book, and then I would add my own interpretation on top of that. And it was usually my interpretation that people would say, oh shit, okay, yeah, no, you're right, or yes, it was authentic reactions. However, the book had such a poignant and poetic way of saying things, and because I was so into the goddess and researching the divine feminine, I loved how everything was colored by the mythology and the lore of that particular goddess and the stories behind that card. But it was limiting. The definition of the card is limiting. In my tarot classes within Mystic Circle, I wanted to create a class for the younger me who was just so hell-bent on trying to read tarot and gave up a couple times in the beginning because it was too hard, because I can't memorize things when I don't have an emotional connection to them. So my goal with teaching anything, herbalism, spiritual awakening, psychic development, tarot, is to connect the emotion to it, because we are emotional, spiritual, energetic beings. So we need to understand that everything, all imbalances that we experience are driven by emotional imbalance. So when we use tarot for transformation, which is what I do with my clients and I teach it in my classes, is this interpretation is not going to apply to everyone in every situation, because we are a rainbow of colors and energy, and there is no one definition for one person. The same is true when it comes to astrology, and my husband teaches that over at Mystic Circle, that you are unique and that no one has a chart like you. So understanding the layers of energies and the lenses for which we look through these energies at, it brings everything full circle in understanding the self, because that is alchemy. That is aligning with your energies. That is transmuting what a situation that seemed where you were powerless. I had a client recently who is about to go into a custody battle with her husband, and she was feeling powerless because she was this was a person who was narcissistic and abusive, and she just wanted to feel more like she could do something, or that whatever happened, it was going to be okay. And I was able to tell her, not only is it going to be okay, but with spirit and your guidance, so much more information is available to you. You are not a victim. You are not that woman anymore. You can take your power back. You can keep your children, and you can do what's right for them and you, and hopefully find a balance between what you want and what your husband wants. And so much more is available to you on all different paths. There is no one path. And I love doing tarot readings for clients because sometimes it's just that perspective shift and hearing that there are other opportunities, there are other ways for them to handle something that feels insurmountable, that feels like a life sentence, be it physical imbalances, emotional, spiritual, within relationships, within families. No one is helpless and no one is beyond finding balance and no one is beyond salvation. That's true salvation, is alchemy, alchemizing your energy, taking something that you thought was one way and letting it evolve and become something completely different, which connects you to your power of self. That's freaking magic, people. And tarot can do that for you if you allow it. No one can touch your tarot deck. Oh, we already touched on that one. You know what? Let people touch your tarot deck. I personally, I have a toddler and a baby. And there has been, this deck right here. This was a deck that I loved that I have to get replaced. But my toddler was playing with it and she was like, oh, it bends. And it even hurts my heart to do that right now, even though it's ruined. But I'm not going to throw it away. I'm going to find another way for it, probably a project or something to do with it. And it's her deck now. But if she had just touched it and put it back, that's fine. That's what we're working on. And there's been many times where my husband has used one of my decks. I use one of his decks, and it's not a big deal. But again, if you are superstitious about someone touching your deck, that also speaks to how you're going to experience someone touching your deck. And you also want to think, is that a boundary or is that a superstition? If it's a boundary, respect it. No big deal. But is it a necessary boundary? No, it's not necessary. And there's no cosmic law that says no one can touch your tarot deck. And when it comes to learning tarot, once you've connected with a tarot deck or multiple decks, they're friends. They're your little buddies, and they're there to support you. And at the same time, you want to support them. So we want to give them crystals. We want to give them sound baths. We want to give them gratitude. So it's not just take, serve me. Just like with herbalism, we're not just taking and taking and taking until the plant's like, there's no more. I've got nothing left. Because we do that to people and we see the result of that. So we don't want to have an energetic imbalance in our relationship to our divination tools, to our environment. No, we want to find balance and cohesion. And if you nurture these friendships, they will be the best friends you have ever had. And finally, number 7, you have to be psychic to read tarot. First of all, everyone is psychic. What? Oh my God, did she just say that? Yes, she did. Everyone is frickin' psychic. And in my psychic development class, I teach you that psychic awareness is simply an expression from your energetic centers of the body. And it speaks to the emotional root. It speaks to subconscious programming from childhood, which essentially is how you view the world based on how people of authority in your lives taught you to view the world. And the awakening comes from being able to see things through your own lens and learning who you actually are and not who you think you are based on the lies, the limiting beliefs and lies that people of authority, your teachers, your parents, your older siblings, anybody who you viewed with any authority, they imprinted on your energetic frequency on this planet, on your subconscious, on your mind. So when we are connecting to our psychic awareness, we are honoring the first divine rule. Everyone is psychic, and it is through your emotional portal. And in astrology, it's the moon. It's our emotional security. It's our emotional connection to the moment. And the moon is that feminine side. In the tarot, we will see the high priestess. She has her foot in the water and there's the veil behind her. And I go deep into this in my tarot classes in Circle. But essentially, she is the quiet power of psychic ability that lives within all of us. That is the portal to the divine mysteries. And there's nothing blocking us from going through the veil and looking at the secrets and seeing what serves us and seeing what doesn't. She's not sitting there being like, don't cross me, bitch. No, she's saying in some cases, look deeper, think, from a different perspective, think more spiritually, trust your intuition. What are you getting in terms of messages? What message is coming through? And the psychic answer is within the first 5 seconds. The 1 to 5 seconds. And when you learn to trust that and not the critical mind, which comes into play after that, which goes, did I just make that up? No. And I get it, because when I first started doing tarot professionally, I would just trust in the psychic awareness, trust in the psychic voice. And people would respond. And I would speak very specifically about situations. They'd be like, yes, And after readings, I'd be like, did I make that up? No, I didn't. I didn't, because they came back, or because they had such an emotional response to the words that I said, which were specific to what they needed to hear. I simply am a channel of divine truth, and you can become a channel as well. Just like anything else, just like no one sits down at the piano and can just play. No one shows up at a track and can just run a mile in 4 minutes flat. No, that is a muscle that is worked and practiced over time. It's muscle memory. It becomes a part of our existence. I was a singer and an actress for years. And so I could get up and sing at the whim, and it was no problem professionally or just in my personal life. But now I don't flex those muscles as often anymore. So I'm a little rusty, but I could always get back into shape. The same is true with tarot. The same is true with your psychic ability. It's a muscle that has to be flexed. So creating a daily tradition or a daily practice within tarot is going to help you flex those muscles and connect to that divine awareness. And the best part about tarot is unless you're doing professional readings, which I don't recommend for beginners, ain't nobody judging you. Ain't no one going to be like, that's wrong. No, that's not right. And if anyone's saying that's not how I would interpret it, that's simply another layer of perspective. It does not mean that your interpretation was wrong, because the key to dreams, to tarot, to any divination practice whatsoever is your interpretation. The first psychic awareness that you get, that first message that comes through, that's the answer. And other people, like my husband the other day, I saw something that I immediately thought, okay, we're going through something. It was a moving truck and a huge picture of snakes. I'll have to share it in circle. But it was a huge picture and multiple snakes. Snakes are a archetype that I have worked with for years because I kept seeing snakes. Snakes have been a part of my life since early on, and I never liked them. I never had reverence for them, but I do now. And one of the things I told my husband is like, this is a transitional phase for us. We may want to move, but it's the constriction of the skin that comes around the snake before it can shed its own skin. So it's an uncomfortable transition, and it can feel like pressure. It can feel like, okay, I want to move. I want to get through this, but you have to surrender in order to release. And then he had another interpretation. Of course, he asked ChatGPT, but he said, ChatGPT said that it could be that we're meant to, instead of moving, because I thought, oh, okay, maybe we're supposed to move. It's on a moving truck. But I knew that we had to stay put where we were and figure out where we want to go. He said that we have to understand that where we are is uncomfortable, but we have to get comfortable with the discomfort. And I was like, okay, so that's another layer, and that's a confirmation. Even though it might sound a little different than my interpretation, it's still a confirmation of it, and we can layer that on top. And somebody else could come in and be like, oh, you know what I think of when I saw that? This. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm never going to be like, no, that's not correct. Because the beauty of tarot and the beauty of psychic awareness is it is unique to every single individual person, because each one of us has a unique lifelong experience and sees life through a different lens for everyone. That's the beauty of psychic awareness and psychic ability. We're all meant to own and hone our psychic awareness so that we can be a lens for other people sometimes, so that we can be in service within this work if you want to become a professional tarot reader. Or even if you are right now and you're just like, I want to see what she says. Is this bitch for real? I think so. But also, it doesn't matter because it's real for me. This is my life. I am a tarot reader. And if you told me 5 years ago that I was going to be a professional tarot reader in just a couple of years and love it, I would have been like, shut the fuck up, get out. No, seriously, you don't know what you're talking about. But I love it. But I'm not just a tarot reader. I also infuse herbalism and my mystic awareness and ritual and the craft and so many other, and science and so much else, because that's my expression of psychic ability. Those are my tools, and it's going to expand. I also use frequency. I also use sound and music, and I want to integrate that into my work as well. All I'm saying is, if you feel like you're not psychic, I want you to challenge yourself from this day forth, henceforth, every moment that you have a psychic feeling. It's that instinctual thought about something that you should do or feel like you should do in your life, or you feel like you don't have the answers. And then you ask yourself, maybe I do have an answer. Okay, what's the first thought that comes through when I think of this situation and what I should do? Something came through. What was that? You can journal that. You can write it down. You can ask your cards, and you can start honoring those messages that come through. Once you live in reverence to your own divine knowledge, which is your birthright, and your connection to power in your own life and your environment, then we're opening up portals of magic. Then we can infuse other stuff and layer on top. And then, oh my God, we are just living this most magical life, and we're vibing higher because we were made perfect. But I hope you're enjoying these podcasts. Logan and I love to share our wisdom. We are simply people walking this path ourselves. We're not perfect, but that's why we've also created a community, because we want to be in a tribal community with people who are doing this work themselves. They're willing to change their perspective and see their own power and actualize that power. And they're doing it every day in Circle, our community, our school. Everything is included. You can learn tarot, astrology. This month, we're getting into herbalism. We do live webinars multiple times every month, and they're also available to watch in the community. Everything is included. You get discounts on readings, and we're just so excited to put our energy into this thriving community, into our school, and we hope you'll join us. Mystic Circle. I love you guys. This has been another podcast for Mystic Rebels, the Divine Feminine, just speaking her piece on tarot. Let me know what you think in the comments, how your experience with tarot has been. If you think I'm totally wrong about something, I'd love to hear it. I'm not going to agree, but that's cool. We can have different opinions, because your spiritual experience is going to be different than my spiritual experience, and we can just honor it and be like, chill about it. Again, thank you so much for spending this time with me, you guys. I love this outlet. I love being able to nerd out with you and wear dresses and makeup and be showered. As a mother, this is just a wonderful, wonderful gift. And I'm so, so grateful to just be a part of your journey. Now, please remember, you're made perfect. And don't forget, vibe higher.